Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things holistic health to help you address your digestion, hormones, and skin problems. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what actually did help me address my ADHD problems and focus better because, that's what we all want. When we have ADHD, we want to be more productive, we want to focus, we want to be able to concentrate. And I've found things that have been very effective and natural. The number one thing to help manage ADHD is to eat better. So this is not a controversial issue. There's a lot of science and research surrounding this. So if you're eating a lot of crap in your diet, like processed foods, a lot of inflammatory foods like vegetable oil, a lot of grains, seeds and nuts that have not been properly prepared, this is going to inflame your digestive tract and to ultimately make your ADHD much worse. So if you are eating a lot of good foods, if you're taking care of your gut health, 2 videos back, I did a whole video on how to heal your gut. So if that is something that you are struggling with and you feel like nothing's working for your ADHD, I would really recommend that you check that out because it is filled with such amazing content to help you finally heal your digestive system. So I started focusing more on like nutritious broths instead of, really ultra processed carb heavy foods, more whole foods, natural foods, things that were going to help me manage my blood sugar, help me heal my gut. So diet is really important. You don't want to be filling your tank with a bunch of junk. It'd be like putting crappy oil in a Lamborghini. You want it to run efficiently.
The reason why I'm putting such a heavy emphasis on the gut microbiome is because ADHD is associated with abnormal gut flora, hence the digestive issues that most of us suffer with. So our bodies are typically more toxic and sensitive than those without this diagnosis, which is why eating healthy is vital for us.
Regular movement and exercise is also something that I feel like a lot of people are not getting enough of, and especially people with ADHD. When we exercise, it helps us stimulate our brain, it helps us regulate our nervous system, it increases dopamine levels, increases serotonin, and this is ultimately what you want when you are dealing with ADHD because it'll help you focus much better if you're getting regular exercise. It also burns off a lot of excess energy and it has helped me focus so much better on my tasks. The third thing is sleep schedule. So your sleep schedule is really important. This is another thing that I talked about in my video about digestive health because you want your sleep to be at a regular schedule. If it's not, you are going to suffer. Your brain is not going to function properly. Your cognition, your concentration, your productivity, everything's going to suffer. So making sure that you are at a good sleep schedule, you're falling asleep properly. I do have a video on sleep as well. You want to make sure that you're falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up rested. So these are all things that can really help your ADHD and help you be more efficient in your day-to-day life. Therapy is also something that can be incredibly effective at helping you manage your ADHD because they can help you learn strategies and maybe even overcoming some core beliefs that you might be holding on to. I know a lot of times when you have ADHD, you're told things like, you can't do that, it's too hard, or you're not capable of that, or even people saying negative things like you're stupid, you're this, you're that, and these are all things that we can internalize. So going to therapy can help you overwork some of those core beliefs and also figure out some strategies to help you figure out what works best for you and what is holding you back. So now we're going to actually get into the strategies. So the number one thing would be to put any distractions away. So turn off any emails, turn the phone off, make sure that if you get distracted by your pet, put the pet in the other room, put the pet in the crate. Anything that you can do to help you minimize these distractions is going to greatly improve your productivity because if you constantly have bing, 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 and all these things going off that you're hearing, you're just going to want to check the phone or you're going to want to look at the social media or whatever it is. Block the websites on your computer that you were just drawn to. Maybe it's YouTube, whatever it is. Put the distractions away. Small commitments can also be really effective to help you get the ball rolling on a project. So for me personally, I hate doing laundry. It sits in the basket for a very long time. And what helps me get going to get the laundry done after it's clean is to say, let me put 5 pieces of clothing away. So what I'll do is I'll dump everything on the bed and then I'll put 5 pieces of clothing away. If it feels like it's too much, I'll put the rest back in the basket, or I'll feel motivated enough to keep going and to finish it all. So that's something that can be really fun. You can kind of make it into a game, like if I can do this, then it might be completed, but don't be too hard on yourself if you don't hit that goal. Time-based goals are also something that can be really helpful to make things seem a lot less daunting. So when you are, say, doing the dishes or cleaning the kitchen or whatever it might be that you hate doing, or even writing a paper, say, I'm gonna write for 10 minutes, or I'm going to put laundry away for 10 minutes. And start doing that, put your timer on, and it will definitely help take some of the burden off, and it'll feel a lot less scary because you only have to do it for 10 minutes. And if you get into it, keep going. Reminders and tracking what I have to do. So I have a weekly planner. I do quarterly planning, like I will plan out my quarter of the things that I have to do. I'll use Post-it notes a lot, so I'll have different Post-it notes for different things that I have to do, and I'll put them in places where I know that I'm going to look at them. And this has been so helpful because I love to-do lists. I find them to be very therapeutic to help my brain organize what I have to do, and I can just scratch it off the list when I'm done, and you don't have to stress about it if it doesn't get done that day or time. Chunking projects has also been helpful. I know that it's kind of a double-edged sword the way that you look at this, because if you chunk projects and you break it down into smaller tasks, sometimes that can be really daunting to look at, because you'll say, oh, well, it's just this big project. You break it down into a bunch of steps and then you start to become overwhelmed. But if you can break it down into steps and then look at the first few steps, or the things that you know are going to help you get the project done in the most efficient manner, pick those tasks first, and that can really be effective. Doing harder tasks first can help. This one, it's a hit or miss depending on what you're doing. Sometimes the harder task first makes everything feel really overwhelming, and sometimes it lifts a burden off of your shoulders. So it depends on what you're doing and how you're looking at it. Sometimes this strategy is not effective at all, and sometimes it's very effective. So just trying to figure out what works for you. Time breaks or Pomodoro. So for me, this could look like 30 minutes of work, 10 minutes of break, or even 10 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break, depending on what it is, or even if you really get into it, like 50 minutes of work and 10 minutes of break. So this can be really effective to help your brain take a break from whatever you're doing, and it also gives you that relief feeling of, I don't have to sit here and do the entire task until my feet fall asleep and I'm ready to rip my hair out. Like, you can kind of break it down and give yourself a break. Proper music has played a tremendously important role in helping me manage my ADHD. So if I'm playing things like classical music or even binaural beats or deep bass meditation, these are things that have specific wavelengths of sound that can really help to make your brain concentrate a lot more effectively. There's a couple of them on YouTube that, the way that the sound is really helps kind of put me in a trance and just let me do my work, which is like, wow, that's so hard. I never, I didn't think I could do these things. And, I sit down and I'll just start working. And, if I put on other music, it's just like, it's too overwhelming, it's too overstimulating, and yeah, the music can be super helpful. If you fidget, you can do things like a fidget spinner if you find that that's helpful. I'm not really a fidgeter. I do have one of those little foot rollers under my desk for reflexology, and I'll use that occasionally, and I feel like that just kind of helps me relax. But there's other things that you can do. They have like the little stress balls that you can squeeze. So it depends on how you are and how your energy manifests. You can do things like that to strategize how you're going to work. Now, as far as supplements, so cod liver oil, magnesium, zinc, vitamin C, iron-rich foods. These can all be really effective for helping your brain receive the proper nutrition because, like I said, most of the time we are depleted in a lot of nutrients that we need in order for our brains to function properly. So supplementing can be very helpful, especially the cod liver oil that has so many different benefits, from the vitamin A content to the vitamin D to the omega-3s and the saturated fat. I mean, your brain is just going to absolutely love that. You want to make sure you're getting a high quality brand. I will put the link down in the description below for you to get one. You don't want a cheapie. You don't want cheap supplements ever because the FDA doesn't really regulate them, so you want to do your research first. St. John's wort, skullcap, chamomile, and ginseng can also be really helpful and effective for helping you manage your ADHD better. So this is something that you'd have to talk to your doctor about, of course. I'm not giving medical advice in this segment, but this is something that can be very effective. So that's really all that I have for you today. I hope that you found this content useful. If you found it helpful, be sure to share it with your friends, share it with all of the people who you know that have ADHD, and hit that like button and the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this in the future. I do focus mainly on digestion, but ADHD does most of the time stem from digestive disorders, so please keep that in mind. Thank you so much all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.